Welcome everyone to Rayo and Tech. I'm your host, Rayo. I hope that everyone's doing well today. Right now, I have a quick video which I just want to shoot for you guys. This is for my CYB-525 course. Um, yeah, this is going to be a really cool topic. We're talking about cyber espionage. This is my type of public service announcement which I want to get out. So I have a lot of really cool details which I want to share with you guys. Let's get started. We can see the three type of potential security threats that an organization may face. We'll start with number one, phishing. As we know, phishing is very common in our world today. We see that it's used on many different types of people of different types of ages. If you're maybe new to cybersecurity, what phishing is that it's a type of social engineering tactic where someone would be able to try to phish sensitive information from you, and be able to use that type of information and exploit it. And so we've seen that, especially with the use of technology, how it's improving. There's different types of phishing techniques which could occur. So an example of getting a phishing technique happening to you through text message is called smishing, which is SMISHING. So pretty much what someone would do is they would try to create a fake link, which they would try to trick whoever the end user is on there to click it. And that may A, open up malicious software, or B, redirect them to a link where they want them to expose sensitive information, which can then be captured. So this is a very serious threat, which could happen within different levels of employees. And so even what's common in corporations is having phishing emails conducted as similar HR emails. So it makes it harder for people to detect the phishing type of email. The second security threat an organization may face is called ransomware. So we'll kind of branch off of phishing here. So let's say the phishing attack occurs. What could happen is there can be a piece of malicious code known as malware, which can then create a ransomware. What this ransomware does is that it would be able to lock sensitive information. In order to get this information unlocked, which has now been encrypted, one would have to pay a ransom, which would be a very lump sum. We've seen that within these ransoms, sometimes it would take millions of dollars just to get the decryption key. And so it's very scary to think that that could happen to a organization, because if that happens, and it can really stop the flow of productivity as well as just common day-to-day operations. Lastly, the third security threat is an insider threat. So if there is a disgruntled employee, or someone who wants to just cause havoc in a system, one of the scariest things which could happen is having an insider threat. And this means that someone who works within the organization, who has access and who has this type of escalation privileges and administrator access, could potentially leak out information. So it's very essential to understand within a company how to not only monitor different types of employees, but at the same time understand these type of potential threats which may occur. On to the next topic. So in terms of countermeasures that may be employed against these security threats, we'll start with number one, phishing. So as I've mentioned, phishing is a very common theme. So especially within an organization, it's very important to do security training. So I've seen different elements of sometimes HR. What they would do is conduct fake phishing emails, and if someone gets spoofed, it would then take them to a link to a training, which would be an awareness. So that's very hands-on, and it's very beneficial, especially to know that phishing can occur at any type. Being able to filter phisher emails with like rules is very essential. So at least the email mailbox would be able to at least filter out anything which looks like a phishing email. Lastly, the use of multi-factor authentication is very nice because being able to not only just verify after one has been logged onto the system just adds an extra layer of security. Two, for ransomware, one, we can definitely see that ensuring that all security and applications are patched as well as consistently being backed up. So the reason for this is, unfortunately, if a ransomware occurs on a new build, if there's no backup, then this could cause a lot of data loss. And so being able to make sure that these vulnerabilities, if they are found, are patched, will definitely make it a lot easier overall, just to help like mitigate the system and kind of like reset it back to where it needs to be. Lastly, for insider threats, we see that using use privilege management to prevent privilege escalation is very, very important. So what this means in a nutshell is that being able to distinct which user has what and which user has which type of responsibility. So I see that on the second topic here, the second point of the insider threat, being able to monitor user activities as well as set policies in place to ensure that no activities actually occurring within inside / outside of working hours. Pretty much, if someone notices that there's suspicious activity, being able to flag this within the system, as well as being able to have a type of system which would be able to scan overall. And so I would say these are the best like countermeasures, especially with any security threats may occur within these three topics. Lastly, the appropriate measures that need to be taken should a system compromise occur. One, being able to create an incident response plan, including vulnerability assessment and risk assessments. So it's very important, especially once an actual vulnerability has occurred, because timing is everything. Being able to create an incident response plan will not only save you time, but it would also be able to at least let you know the direction of what you need to do. So doing vulnerability assessments, like, hey, what's the damage of the vulnerability? Risk assessments, how much risk is being taken based off of this vulnerability. So being able to plan that out and execute that would be able to help save not only money, but time and resources. Number two, isolation and containment of systems that may have vulnerabilities that have occurred. So let's say if a vulnerability occurred on a virtual machine, it would be best to isolate that virtual machine from the whole system itself. Because if it's integrated within the system and it works with different components, it may shut down the system if that vulnerability is there, and it may spread to another part. And so it's very important to isolate the problem, contain the actual system itself, and then be able to diagnose from what you need to do. And that brings me to my third part, where let's say if it's isolated from a system and is contained, being able to not only patch the system, but also remediate any type of vulnerabilities that have occurred within that actual system itself. And so pretty much with these steps, it's like this. You create a plan, you isolate what the problem is, and then you patch, and then you remediate and do damage control, as well as like create different types of mitigation tactics and type of behaviors which you use just to ensure that these type of vulnerabilities and malicious malware doesn't occur. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to give like my little explanation on. These are the references which I've seen, which I've used. These are all quoted. If you click on them, you should be able to understand like why phishing is successful. Pretty much very good resources. It talks about why phishing is the way it is, as well as the statistics behind it, as well as, we see that we live in an age of technology. So cyber war is very scary. So being able to just understand why that occurs, but most importantly, that's just the main thing which I wanted to talk to you guys about. So thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to my presentation. If you guys like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Other than that, I'll be pushing out more content when needed. This is Rayo and Tech. You guys have a blessed day. Stay amazing. Stay up.